So, dear students, good afternoon. We had a class of chapter 2 of economy sectors of the Indian economy, but due to that work, the Google Classroom class was not that much good at it should have been. That's why I'm preparing this video for you so that you are able to understand the concept clear. Okay. So, sectors of the Indian economy. Dear students, if you look around you, you will find different people are engaged in different activities. Somebody might be doing some labor work, someone might be working in a bank or a police officer or doctor or a teacher, somebody might be engaged in some manufacturing activities. So different people are engaged in different activities. In the book also you see that a postman is delivering the letter to the lady, coolie is picking up the luggage, two ladies are plucking the cotton balls, that's working labor. And in the fourth again they are engaged in manufacturing, as lady and gentleman is busy in making bricks. And in picture 5 a lady is working as a saleswoman. So dear students, we need to classify all these activities on into different groups, and these groups are called sectors. And to you can say categorize these activities in different groups, we need to use certain criterions. Okay. So on the base of different criterions, we divide all these activities into different sectors. So first of all, primary sector, we can write it again because I was preparing video but it was disturbed due to some reason. So we can start it again, need not to worry. Primary activities. Primary activities are related to agriculture, dairy and minerals. Okay. Here whatever is product of agriculture or whatever is product of dairy or mineral is a natural product, and we try to or we use those minerals or those dairy farms, dairy products or agriculture products as it is, as we get it from the nature. If we are not able to make the use of them, then we use it as a raw material for secondary sector, because for doing all these activities we have to depend on nature. For example, for agriculture we need to have certain soil fertility or fertile soil, we need to have good climatic conditions or required climatic conditions, we need to have rainfall, we need to have sunshine. In the same way, in case of dairy, we need to depend on the biological process of animals, we need to have photo crops. For minerals, we obtain it from the nature, we cannot make the minerals on our own. So all these are natural products, that's why they are part of primary activities. Secondary activities are equal, rather more important, because in whatever you have in primary activities, that is used as a raw material for secondary activities, like agricultural products or dairy or minerals. They are processed to make them into a more usable and more valuable product. For example, we make shirt out of cotton, we make furniture out of the wood or the trees. Okay. So in secondary sector, with the use of techniques and technology, we make the raw material in you can say a processed one, and hence we increase its utility and value. That's why it is also called industrial sector. This secondary sector can also be called industrial sector. Okay. In case of tertiary activities, are those activities in which we make better use of primary and secondary activities. For example, if you have raw material and you need to process it to make better usable goods, so how will you do it? Undoubtedly, it will have to be done in some industry or some factory. In that factory, you need to have some engineers, some skillful workers, and who will impart those skills and that knowledge to the engineer or the worker. Undoubtedly, that is part of tertiary activities, where technology and knowledge is imparted to the people who work in the secondary sector. Okay, the skills are enhanced, research and development work is done in tertiary activity, and whatever is product of primary and secondary activities, undoubtedly it will have to be transported to the area of need. For that you need to communicate, you sometimes may have to store it. For production you need capital or money. Who will provide that money? It will be provided by the bank. You need some insurance facility also, and you need safety and security as well. That will be provided by the police or other CPOs. Apart from these, we need certain more activities also, like you have housemaids, cobblers, okay, and some repair workers, teachers, doctors, mechanics. All these are also very important for our survival. So these are part of even your ATM, that is also part of service. Your transportation, as I told you here also, okay. Storage, here is the storage, okay. Even software developers, they make your life easy, they make your business easy. No, you need not to remember that much things. Software helps you a lot. So all these are part of tertiary activities. I repeat all these. Primary activities means where we are dependent on the natural productivity of the earth, okay, and we use the product as it is, as are provided by the nature. If we are not able to make full use of the resources in primary sector, that definitely that works as a raw material for secondary sector or secondary activities. In secondary activities, we process the products into more usable and more valuable products with the use of technologies and knowledge, skills, etc. In case of tertiary sector is the sector that helps in better working of primary as well as secondary activity. Knowledge, technology, skills, R&D, all are imparted by the tertiary sector to secondary sector, and moreover, whatever is the product of primary and secondary sector need to be transported, need to be put in storage, they need to be distributed to the retailers or the wholesalers, or ultimately last to the consumers. So for that we need to have tertiary sector, for which we need to communicate, we need money, we need banking and insurance, we need safety and security services. At the same time, we need the services of the housemaids, cobblers, repair workers, teachers, doctors, mechanics, ATM booths, software developers. All these are there to help us in distribution of or use of primary and secondary products. So, dear students, I hope the things are clear to you. And now come to the point. Primary, second, and tertiary sectors all are interdependent. No economic activity can survive in isolation. All the activities are interdependent, be it primary, secondary, or tertiary. So all the economic activities are interdependent. Okay, you can see the table in your book on page number 21. Imagine what would happen if farmers refuse to sell sugarcane to the particular sugar mill. The mill will have to shut down, obviously. What does it show? It shows that this is an example of the secondary or industrial sector being dependent on the primary. अगर किसान गन्ना ही नहीं देंगे तो शुगर मिल कैसे चलेगी, बंद करनी पड़ेगी. लेकिन on just opposite, if the cotton mill companies decide not to buy cotton from the Indian market and they will import the cotton from other countries, undoubtedly the Indian cotton cultivation will become less profitable and the farmers will have to think otherwise. They may even go bankrupt if they cannot quickly switch to the other crops, and the cotton prices will definitely fall. So here it is shown that farmers are dependent on industries because they need to sell their product to the industries, and the industries are dependent on the primary sector because they need to take raw material. So both are interdependent or interrelated. Same is with the banking or other services, they are equally important. Suppose if you have raw material also, you might be having industry also, but now you don't have any engineer, any worker. If you get engineer or worker, they will prepare the product, but now you are not having trucks, you are not having means of communication. So all are equally important. Whatever is the product of primary and secondary sector need to be transported, need to be sent to the area of desire or area of need. Hence you can say all sectors are equally important. Example 3 you can see, farmers buy many goods such as tractors, pump sets, electricity, pesticides and fertilizers. Imagine what would happen if the price of fertilizers or pump sets go up. Cost of the cultivation definitely of the farmers will rise and their profits will be reduced. Okay, so it shows that all the sectors are equally important. उसके बाद आपको दिया हुआ है लेट्स वर्क एंड थिंक ऑफ लेट्स वर्क these out. Lot of activities are given over here. You can make a list of different activities or categorize the different activities. Now comparing the three sectors, the various production activities in the primary, second and third sectors produce a very large number of goods and services, and also the three sectors have a large number of people working in them to produce these goods and services. Now the next step is how much goods and services are produced and how many people work in each sector. In an economy, there could be one or more sector which are dominant in terms of total production and employment, while other sectors are relatively small in size. Now, how to calculate it? This is a big question. Let us see. If a farmer sells his food grain in the market at rupees 8 per kg, and that you can say businessman purchases the wheat, sells it to the flour mill, he sells it to the hotel or some other biscuit making factory at the rupees of 10 per kg. The biscuit factory sells biscuit rupees 15 per packet and sells 4 packet or makes 4 packet out of the total wheat. The company purchases from the flour mill. So which price need to be calculated for just to find out the contribution of any sector, contribution of a sector in the economy? How much is contributed by primary sector or secondary or tertiary? किस सेक्टर ने कितना प्रोडक्शन किया, कैसे कैलकुलेट करेंगे? So for that we need to calculate the price of the final product, as in case of this example. For example, 10,000 kg of wheat is sold at rupees 8 per kg. The value of wheat will be 80,000. So we need not to add 10,000 of kg of wheat. Rather, we need to add 80,000 received from agricultural sector. So that 80,000 will be contribution of agricultural sector. In the same way, if 5,000 coconuts at the rate of rupees 10 per coconut is sold, it is equal to 50,000. So the contribution of coconut sector will be 50,000 rupees in place of 5,000 or 500,000 coconuts in number. So whatever is the final value of the product, that is added up. Okay, in the same way, you see, if a farmer who sells wheat to a flour mill at rupees 8 per kg, the mill grinds the wheat and sells to the biscuit company for rupees 10, and the biscuit company uses the flour and things such as sugar and oil to make 4 packets of biscuit. It sells biscuits in the market to the consumers for rupees 60, that is rupees 15 per packet. So biscuit is the final product and the goods that reach the consumers. Hence rupees 60 will be considered as a product of that industry, and 60 rupees will be added in the GDP in the name of biscuit company, not in the name of farmer or the flour mill, because all the goods which are used to make biscuit are part of now biscuit packet. The money you got for your biscuit packet includes the cost of wheat, sugar, oil, or any other product you have used, or any of the ingredient you have used in making that biscuit. Okay, so the value of all other intermediate goods, it already has included. So to count the value of flour, wheat separately is not correct, or it is not possible also. So the value of final goods and services produced in each sector during a particular year provides the total production of the sector for that year, and the sum of the production in the three sectors gives what is called GDP, that is gross domestic product. Okay, the GDP is always calculated to find out the financial position of any country in the world. Okay, so more the GDP means better the country is. In India, the mammoth task of measuring this GDP is undertaken by a central government ministry. This ministry, with the help of various government departments of all Indian states and union territories, collect information relating to total value of goods and services and their prices, and then estimates the GDP. Okay, this is job of the central government. Next topic we'll discuss in next video, historical changes in or on Tuesday, that is tomorrow, we have class. In that class we'll start discussing from this historical changes in sector. Though yesterday I had the Google class again, but only a few students joined it. I think the number of students was very less. It was around 26 or 30. So I have discussed in that class, but tomorrow we'll start with this topic, historical changes in sector, and I hope tomorrow network doesn't get failed. Okay, thank you, bye.